Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with. The showstopper so hot, you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff, then I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic, better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone, eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long, pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling, squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion, they see in double, they rushing.
Hey guys, welcome to the Texans Fan Battle. Today we got special guest Landry Locker, but first let me introduce my two other co-hosts here. We've got my A1 from day one, Matt. Why don't you say hi to everyone?
Death, taxes, and beating the Jags. Three things.
Agreed. Looks like you stood out there a minute, but I agree. Quick Jaw, why don't you say hi?
What's up, everybody?
What's up? And we got our special guest, Landry Locker. Why don't you say hi, Landry?
Hello, fellas. Thank you very much for having me. Hope you're enjoying the bye week. Thanks for letting me hop on with you.
Awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate you spending some time today with us.
That's a badass intro, by the way. That's some good stuff right there.
Thank you.
Right.
Who puts that? Who puts that together?
That'd be me.
Okay, there
That'd
you go.
be Matt.
Well done.
That's my brother-in-law. That's he made that song for us.
Okay, I like it.
Thank you.
He might get fined for the concussion reference, but I'm not. I haven't adapted with the times, so I appreciate a good concussion reference. I'm good.
Well,
always.
Guys, today's going to be a little different format. We're actually going to start off talking about the Texans and Jags game today. We'll get to news and other stuff in a little bit, but let's get right on it. So we got the dub. Can we all be happy? A little clap. We got the win. We finally can celebrate it. Yes, it came during the 5th week. I think many of us thought that we could easily have been 4-1 right now, but we got a dub. So before I give my thoughts, Landry, let me hear what you have to say about the Jags and Texans game and any players that stuck out or didn't stick out for you.
I think the best thing about it was that it was the youth movement. You got to see the players that matter the most when it comes to the rebuild were the reason that you won the game. And to me, that's the most encouraging thing. Like it's one thing for Tyrod Taylor to go out there and beat the Jags last year, but in the long term, that's not really going to matter. But when you have Dameon Pierce doing what he's doing, when you have Derek Stingley making the play that he made, when you have Jalen Petrie doing his thing, when you have Garrett Wallow providing a spark to the linebackers before they get Christian Harris, I think it's a relevant win. It's not just a win, it's a relevant win because these are going to be the guys that are going toe-to-toe with Jacksonville probably for years to come. And as much as, Jacksonville went from the favorite in the AFC South, in somewhat, I don't want to say a danger zone, but they're going to face Indianapolis, and Tennessee kind of took control. It is nice to humble a team that you feel is like ahead of you a little bit when it comes to the rebuild and kind of just let them know, we own you guys. So I think the most relevant thing for me was just the youth movement, specifically Stingley. I thought it was nice to see him play banged up. People were talking about durability and all that. He was banged up. He went back out there the week before and played, and then he played through it. And I think the interception that he had against Trevor Lawrence, I don't think people fully understand just how much that had as much to do with Stingley as it did Trevor Lawrence. Like it wasn't a great decision by Lawrence, but it was bait by Stingley. Stingley turned his back to him and literally ran the route for Zay Jones. And Lawrence thought that Stingley was out of the play and all that Jones had to do was, beat the man to the corner of the end zone. But Stingley actually baited him. So I was encouraged by that. I was encouraged by Pierce. I was glad that the coaching staff went right back to Pierce after the near fumble. They clearly trust him. Might want to ease the workload just a little bit, but the biggest takeaway for me, young guys making plays. The draft class by Caserio in year 2, the full draft class looks really good.
All right. Matt, would you like to give your thoughts?
Well, I want to kind of piggyback off what Landry said. I give the Jaguars and the Texans 2 things I see that I don't see in the Colts and the Titans, and that's heart. Every game, the Jaguars and the Texans, they've been close. They've been in the game. Or in the Jaguars' case, they blew out the Chargers. But you can tell that this team has heart. So it's a good thing to see. And our future is looking bright. Pierce, I mean, the dude's a beast. What can I say? I think he's number 5 right now in the NFL rushing. Yep. So, I mean, it's just a good thing to see that we come from ranked 32 rushing to the top 5 rushing. So I'm happy to see that. That's the best way to move the offense is to have a running game. Man, I'm still a little disappointed in Mills. I don't know if it's Mills or if it's Pep Hamilton. I'm still on the fence of both. I don't know who it is, but it's bad. But you gotta give it to the Jaguars. Jaguars didn't get a lot of sacks, but they did get in the backfield a lot to disrupt Mills. So, I mean, there's that factor. But, again, like Landry said, man, it's good to see Stingley lock down his defenders, get that interception. And also, I kind of feel like we got robbed. I don't know if y'all are in the same boat, but I think that was a fumble when Etienne changed the ball to his other arm. To me, that's a football move. And I think we should have got that fumble. But, oh, well. We won the game, but as soon as Trayvon Walker did that hit to Davis Mills, I knew the game was over. It was a wrap. So thank you, Trayvon, for this win. We appreciate it. We wouldn't mind if you give us another one. So,
Crenshaw, what do we hear your thoughts?
Just like you guys said, man, youth movement. I love it. I mean, Damian Walter Payton Pierce, that run he had was phenomenal, man. I mean, phenomenal run. You know, it gives us some excitement because we haven't had excitement here in a while. It's been down, bickering. Just like you said, Davis Mills, he's still not there yet. I mean, we could blame Pep, but Mills also got to play better. Now, he didn't turn over the ball, so that made, of a better game. But I just wish he can do something so the haters that's hating on him from the sideline, he could at least shut them up. But if he keep playing the way he's playing, he can't shut them up. They're going to keep on talking. I believe that it's the Texans and the Jags division to win in the years to come. Trevor Lawrence, people are really high on this guy, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. I think his footwork and accuracy is just as bad as Mills. But people are not going to say it, but I'll say it, But other than that, I think it's a great game. Defense been holding their own. Great win. I hope we can get some more dubs.
All right. Well, I've got a few thoughts, and I'll try not to go on a diatribe here like I always do when we start talking about the games. But a few things. So first of all, obviously, I was very happy to see Stingley get his first interception. Something else we should all note that Stingley has not missed a tackle. Every single one of those times where he's had an opportunity to tackle, and in his assignment, he got him down. So he's wrapping up. He's getting him down. He's becoming a beast in his own right. I was very happy to see him get that interception. Petrie, he didn't have any flashy plays, but if you saw that one play where the O-line came out, Petrie literally pushed him over like he was. I mean, he's a 300-pound dude, and Petrie's pushed him over like he's lunch meat. These are dudes that have some dogs in them. And I obviously can't talk about dogs without talking my name, Dameon Pierce, over here. So talk about being robbed. Dameon Pierce got robbed on Good Morning Football yesterday when they gave it to the DT that basically pushed Tyreek Hill out of the way. Well, the dude's like 310 pounds. You're pushing Tyreek Hill. I mean, 100-pound difference, and that's going to win your angry run. Sorry, Kyle. I know you're probably not watching this podcast, Kyle, but you got it wrong. The whole table got it wrong on that one. As Baldy said, Brian, I call him Baldy. He basically had, in my opinion, probably the best run that we are going to see this season. Baldy said that, and I agree. I mean, breaking off 7 tackles. I think everyone thought when he was just getting eaten up, and then he broke out, and then he kept going, and then he threw dudes off of him, and he's still going. They're pulling out his leg, and he's still going.
And if we don't know, he's still going right now as we speak.
He's still going. I mean, that was definitely one of the most electrifying things I've seen. You know, we had a 75-yard touchdown from him before, so I think he's going to continue. I did put up my signed Collins jersey. Yes, it's 84 because that's before he switched his number to 12. So, but
I was wondering about that. I was wondering what was going on back there. Okay, I see it. That's actually pretty sick. That's a nice little throwback right there.
So yeah, I had to put it up for him today. That 23-yard catch, that was what I want to see in our receivers. You know, he made 2 major plays. That case, he defied gravity. And so I have to throw it up to Nico because I've been giving him a bit of shade these past 4 weeks, and I'm happy that he shut me up. One thing that I will say is that I'm unhappy with Brandon Cooks. It seems like Brandon Cooks has taken a huge step back. He's missing simple catches that he would have made last year. And you could make the argument that, well, if Mills put it right to him a little perfectly, well, you know, QBs aren't going to always throw perfectly, and Cooks was able to catch those catchable passes. He's tied, I think now it's down to 3rd place. It was 2nd place, I think, a week ago. But he's now tied along with 10 other dudes I know, but he's tied for 3rd place on the most amount of drops. This is not the Cooks I know and love. This is not the Cooks that I thought we were going to see this year. He's not even looking, if he continues this way, just from a production standpoint, he won't even get clear even 800 yards. Never mind, people were talking that he would surpass 1,000 yards this season. I'm not seeing it. And I'm a Brandon Cooks lover. When everyone was saying, should we trade him? Should we get a second? I'm like, nope, Mills needs his weapon. Well, his number one weapon isn't really being a weapon. So I have issues with the receiving core. I will say that when it comes down to Davis Mills, I'm still up in the air. It's a wait and see. I'm not ready to kick him to the curb yet. But at the same time, as Crenshaw said, you know, it's getting to the point where you're going to have to start putting up or shutting up. And yes, it's still the 5th week. It's before the bye, but it's time that Mills does step up. Of course, I'm going to blame the receivers because we have receivers issues. I've been a big Pep Hamilton a blamer as well because I didn't like his play calling. But we have seen progress in those areas with Nico Collins stepping up, Pep Hamilton giving 26 carries to Dameon Pierce, putting him in the passing game. He dropped 2 passes, but he's putting him in the pass game. He got 5 looks. Less than Rex, which was 3 looks. So I see some progress from Pep. I got to see it from Mills.
The Nico thing is interesting because I was talking about that on the show even last week before this game at training camp, and we were at all the practices. Nico looked good, and he was the guy that was staying after the longest. I mean, he was staying after an average of like an hour and catching passes with Dylan Thompson. And he's actually been better than his stats. And I think you can kind of tie that to Mills. The game a couple of weeks ago against the Chargers, I mean, he probably should have had 60 more yards. Mills missed him really bad on the interception, and Mills sailed one over his head where you say what you want about Pep Hamilton. The play was perfect. He was wide open on the post, and Mills sailed it over. So I think he ended up with like 80. He could have easily had 125, 140 yards. Who knows what he does after the catch. And a lot of the throws in his direction haven't even been catchable. But I think Nico's been good. And I think you guys will know this. A lot of people won't know this. But if you're one of those people who don't watch every Texans game, and let's be honest, like if you're a casual observer, I don't see why you would put yourself through some of the stuff we go through each Sunday. But if you do watch every game, it's kind of like the old Clowney argument where, you know, people will look at the box score or look at the season stats and say, well, he had 9 sacks. Yeah, well, he also, forced the quarterback to throw an interception. He was also basically a run stopper at the end. So, yeah, you can minimize it. I don't think the stats are going to be as friendly to Collins as his improvements been until Davis Mills starts playing better. So I'm with you. I think Collins has actually played a lot better than, someone that pulls up stats looks at. I think he's been pretty good, really.
Yeah, I mean, you make the argument. The last 2 games, he has improved. Of course, Sundays, and then like Landry said, the game against the Chargers. So he has improved. So, but kind of go back to Pierce. I saw a stat that was crazy. He has 400 something yards, and he also has 400 something yards after first contact. Like, that's just amazing. The guy's getting hit, and he's still getting all this yardage. So, like, you gotta tip your hat off to him. That's an amazing stat.
It is. And if I just want to mention one thing on there, because I think we're seeing 2 players, and Dameon Pierce and even Davis Mills, make the O-line look better than it is. Now, our O-line is definitely not as bad as it was last year. I'm not going to say that it was at all. But we do have 2 players, one being Dameon Pierce, that makes our O-line look a lot better. When it comes to run blocking, we actually got downgraded. We were at 29th, and now we're at 31. When you do watch the All-22, what you'll see is that we're still missing on those run blocks. And that's not just the rookies. First of all, Kenyon Green is actually a beast when it comes to run blocking, first of all. But Tunsil is missing run blocking. The whole O-line is not doing great when it comes to run blocking. Dameon Pierce's aggressiveness and violence makes it seem like the O-line is doing their job. Another thing to think about is that we actually have like the second most stops when it comes to short yardage situations. The O-line really isn't there. And the reason why I'll even talk about Mills is that Mills is getting the ball out in about 2.5 seconds or so, which is around the 5th fastest quarterback in the league. So he's also making the O-line look good because he's getting the ball out so fast. Just to have some sort of cause for perception for those that know, Josh Allen doesn't get the ball out until like 2.8 or later. So we're talking about a dude that doesn't necessarily have the time that he should have in the pocket. That doesn't explain all the things, because there's plenty of times where he's had, seems like, he could go on for 24 hours and he just misses a pass. So I'm not blaming everything on the line, but my point is that there's a lot of blame to go around right now on the situation we're seeing, from the receiving core to the O-line to Pep to Davis Mills. It's just the rushing defense, which is almost non-existent most of the time. There's just a lot of issues that we need to clean up.
That's the thing. I don't know why Doug Peterson didn't run the ball more.
Right. I know.
ETN was eating us alive.
He was the best player in the first half.
Dude, for real. I was
he was the best player on the field.
Yeah, and they get Robinson had maybe 6 carries. Like, I
can't figure that out. That goes back to Urban Meyer. You can't figure out what's up with Robinson. It's like he's sleeping with his coach's wives or something like that.
Yeah, they refuse to play him. I don't get it. It's like Frank Wright skipped the Colts game and came to the Jacksonville game. It's like, dude, you're not playing your best player. It's stupid.
Well, maybe he wanted his quarterback to beat us.
Well, you see what happened
there. Yeah.
But
they should have kept running, though.
I got a question for you, Landry. So say we win the most 6 games this year, and we got a top 10 pick, either from us or the Browns. Do you go quarterback, or what's your call?
I'm open to anything, just because there's so many needs and you have 2 number 1s in the next couple of years. So I'm not like married to the idea of drafting a quarterback. If they feel that they want to, build their roster and then draft a quarterback the next year and have some sort of competition where you bring in a veteran to compete with Mills and you have a team that's just equipped and ready to go, and have another draft class like this and maybe get some ballers on offense like the ballers you've added on defense. I'm not married to the idea of drafting a quarterback just to draft a quarterback. It's going to depend which one they like. I know a lot of people, naturally, I understand, you think, well, you've got to have the number 1 or number 2 pick to get the quarterback. Mahomes was the 3rd quarterback selected. Josh Allen was the 3rd quarterback selected. So sometimes these guys a little later on you pick, but if you told me that they're going to go with, I don't know, one of the D linemen from Georgia or Alabama, and then who knows what with the Browns pick, and then in the second round using that, I'm not married to the quarterback idea, although I like Bryce Young despite being undersized, and I'd like to see what they have to say about the other guys. But I could absolutely see a situation where you just wait. I'm fine with that. I don't think there's any hurry.
Same.
I don't think any quarterback's going to come in here and save the day. And I'm not like in love with, Levis or Stroud or something like that. I know a lot of people love Stroud. I'm not. The other scenario that I would throw out there, and this is where it would be real fun for my nerdy ass on draft day, is like if you're sitting on a gold mine, like let's say that they don't love Levis and they're at 6 or 7, and someone does, get 2 more first round picks and move back to where they're at. And then it gets real fun. Then you got 3 first rounds, and you can just keep keep things going because someone's going to be desperate. Like Nick Caserio is in no hurry right now. He's building a roster, but there's some of these guys out there where if they don't get a quarterback next year, like if Washington doesn't get a quarterback, or if the Colts don't get a quarterback, I know trading within the division would be weird, but some of these teams are going to be giving you a couple of ones to trade up there and get Levis if you don't love them, and you can build the hell out of your roster and still have that draft equity next year. So that's one of my favorite scenarios too. There's a lot of possibilities.
How do you feel about Tyler Huntley?
I like him, but I don't know how they would feel about him, but I'm not down on that. I haven't even really dove as much into the draft as you. You like him? You fan?
Yeah. I'm a fan of him. I think he'd come in and compete with Mills, and what you said, trade down, stockpile picks, because I feel like you're going to need an extra first for 2024 just in case you see a quarterback that you like and you got to trade up. So that's how I look at it.
See, and I don't know if it would be Jimmy G, and that would be a polarizing situation. I know Caserio's got the feels for Jimmy G. I don't know who he would like. Would it be? I mean, could he like Brissett to come in here? I don't know. But if someone's going to hold it down, then I'm not opposed to it. I know it's not sexy or anything like that, but I'm not opposed to it.
Now, I know we all know this is not going to happen, but just say the Ravens do not franchise tag Lamar Jackson and he's available. Man. Do you throw the book at him and pick him up?
See, I'm a Lamar guy. I like Lamar. Now, I know that would kind of kill the Huntley dream because I like Snoop Huntley. I don't know if he fits into if he would fit into what they're doing, but I'm a Lamar guy. I don't know what that price would be, but I'm also a big fan of team building in the draft. So I'm assuming you'd have to give up a lot of picks for Lamar. And I would, I just don't think putting Lamar in this situation would be ideal for either side. I don't know if Lamar can if you don't have any draft picks around him and don't have any weapons, because he'd basically be coming to a situation where you have probably a worse defense than the Ravens and you don't have as many. I mean, I guess the receivers are better here, but I don't know if it's by much. Or the receivers are better there, but maybe right. I don't know. Maybe not. I can't even.
And we got the better running back too, so
we do that. I want more backs. Like I want more backs. I know that. I mean, I think you need to consider with one of those like early seconds getting another back with Pierce and having like some sort of two-headed monster, whether it's Gibbs. Out of Alabama, a little Kamara vibes. I don't know when Bijan Robinson's going to go. He might fall into like a real good situation for him because you can play him in the slot too. A-Chain out of A&M's good. Like there's a lot of running backs right now. And the other thing that nobody's really talking about is that the pick that they used to draft Dameon Pierce was actually from Cleveland in the Watson trade. So we're already off to a pretty good start there. And I guess it's kind of payback for the second round pick that you traded Brock with being Chubb. So it's a little bit of like a thank you very much for giving it back somewhat.
I like you said that we need a running back. I'll tell you a running back that I'm very impressed with, and I think we can get him in the third round. and that's Bond from K-State. He gives me a Darren Sproles
Deuce.
type.
Yeah, Deuce.
Yes.
Deuce is a scary dude, man. That's a
Yeah.
little that they got little Deuce back there.
He reminds me of
have some
Darren
fun with
Sproles.
Deuce.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Their backfield. I'm not trying to like turn this into like a Big 12 thing, but that's kind of like that's my area. But like their backfield right now at K-State, it's got to be one of the biggest like running back, quarterback home run threats that I can remember. Cause I'm a day one Big 12 guy. I know Vince and whoever the hell else you put back there was a home run threat. Although Jamal wasn't even really, he wasn't getting a ton of carries his freshman year. He got the most, but probably should have gotten more. But like, I think you have to go back to Sproles and Roberson to where you have a quarterback and a running back that can just house it at any time in the Big 12. And the way that Martinez and Vaughn are looking is pretty wild. But I like Vaughn a lot. That's one of those little guys that just runs a lot bigger than he is. He's a monster. So, there's a lot of backs, man. There's a lot of backs. You got to get one. You can't have Rex Burkhead as your second best.
No.
You can have him as like an emergency guy. Like Rex Burkhead should be one of those guys where we wake up on Sunday, we pull up the computer. I know old Brown Chubby Bear is going to be on Reddit or something like that. He's gonna be keeping people posted. But you look on, and sometimes Rex Burkhead's active, sometimes he's not. It shouldn't be just a Rex Burkhead is your number 2 back if he's going to be on the roster. So they need to get more backs for sure. And this is a good draft to do that. And
real quick too, I like another guy from K-State, and that's that linebacker. I can't pronounce his last name. He has 2 of them, but he's in the backfield constantly disrupting the quarterback.
You a K-State fan or what? What's going on here?
I'm not. I hate K-State. I live here in Kansas.
You can try to bring in Adrian Martinez too?
No, sir. No, sir. I like the linebacker and the running back. It's great. I'm a U of H guy.
Okay.
But like I said, I live here in Kansas, and that's the only college football team I could watch, sadly, and the Jayhawks.
College football is good in Kansas right now. They got 2 good teams.
Yeah. Yeah, trust me. I hear from fans all the time. It's annoying.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. So this has been my vision, shall we say. So I am not a dude that wants to grab a quarterback as well. What I would like to get is, you get yourself like a Will Anderson, and then you get an elite receiver like JSN. Do that in your first round, and we'll see where Gibbs goes. We'll see where A-Chain, where he goes. And yes, I want to get another running back, but then obviously we're going to, we need obviously linebackers. We have a ton of needs, but the point
is the weakest position on the team right now. Like, I don't think it's even close. Now we'll see how Harris looks and we'll see how Wallow progresses, but linebacker is concerning along with D-line. I'm with you on that.
Right. So I don't know where Noah's going to go. So like, I don't really, because right now the drafts I'm looking at have them going all over the place. But regardless, my point is we build up the team. We get some D-line. We get an elite receiver, and then next year, my goal would be to either look at getting either Caleb Williams or Quinn Ewers, one of those 2. And I'm curious what you think of them, because my preference right now is Caleb. But I'm curious what you think about those 2 picks if we move on from Mills.
Yeah, I wonder about Caleb. I liked him coming out, and I liked everything he did except when he played Texas in the Red River Shootout last year. I knew that crap was going to happen too. I knew that Riley was just going to free him. I don't know. I watched Caleb Williams. I don't know how much of a pro prospect he is, and I obviously watched Quinn. The thing with Quinn is he's only played 3 games, and he missed 6 games his senior year in high school, and he missed, a few games this year. So this year, I guess you can kind of say it was a fluke because he got thrown on his shoulder. But I wonder if like health is going to be an issue. I'd like to see him, kind of keep playing. But as far as just like pocket poise and arm talent, I don't think I've ever seen anything like him, given the fact that he has only started 3 games in college. Now, OU's terrible, and the defense isn't very good. So we'll learn a lot more about him the next 4 weeks, because they've got Iowa State, and then they've got the 3 good teams in the Big 12, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, TCU. So we'll learn. But, even if that doesn't work out, just keep stockpiling picks. But I am intrigued by what Caleb ends up looking like. He's about to be tested. They're actually an underdog this weekend. They're going to Utah, 2-loss Utah, and Utah basically has to win that game to keep their Pac-12 championship hopes alive. So if you do want to scout these guys, you can watch Caleb this week. I think they might be late night, so it'll kind of play out for you. And then Texas, they got Iowa State. That's early, so I wouldn't watch that. And then next week they go to Oklahoma State, so you'll get a better look at those guys. But those are definitely the two names. I heard someone say, and I take it with a grain of salt, but he is the guy that I probably respect the most, like one of the guys that I respect the most when it comes to just like film study. He's out there at the ticket in Dallas. He's like one of those nerds. He thinks Quinn Ewers is like third best quarterback in the country right now. I think it's weird, but he's not like some hot take guy. He has no like Texas ties, but that's what he's saying. I mean, if you make $1 million your senior year of high school to skip it and go be the backup quarterback at Ohio State, and then you get 7 more figures to go to Texas, like you got to have something. I mean, I think he was like the highest rated recruit that they've had. He was 1 all the way across. So he's very intriguing to say the least. Who would y'all pick if you had to pick a quarterback? If you had your pick of the quarterbacks this year, who are y'all going with?
I want to go with the guy from Kentucky, Levis.
Will Levis?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a late round guy. Like if we can get one 5th or 6th, I wouldn't mind a Rattler or a Hooker.
Oh,
I mean,
keep me away from Rattler. Keep me away from that.
I'm just not sold on getting a quarterback this draft at all.
Okay. So you want like a project. Okay.
Right.
You get a Hooker jersey too. I'm sure that would be a very popular jersey.
Exactly.
Replace the Hooker jersey.
Right.
Sure, your wife would love that. So gun to my head, I'll take Bryce Young. My biggest issue with him is that he's undersized. But frankly, I don't like CJ Stroud. I don't like Bryce Young. And I don't like Will Levis. They all have faults where I think that basically getting any of them and putting them in the position that we're in could really destroy them. So it almost seems like it could be a wasted pick. And I hang on to those first-round picks. Like you can imagine, we didn't have them with Bill O'Brien. So they're like gold to me. And to me, I would much rather get Will Anderson and JSN or even a linebacker, like I said, like Noah, use those first-round picks then. And then when we have the team built up, then go and getting a quarterback that can actually perform and do something with the weapons that we have.
And that's the gold mine. Yeah, go ahead. Right. Sorry.
And Tom, don't get me wrong, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of our generation.
That's a hot take right there.
But Bill Belichick did something smart, and that was build a defense around him. Yeah, and I think that's what we need. We need a defense no matter what. Lovie Smith knows how to build it. Casario's watched the mastermind do it himself. So, and he, who knows, he could have been the mastermind. He wouldn't have picked Cole Strange in the first round. So, who knows?
Yeah, and you got, I would go with Bryce too. I think that there's a big difference between like, when people talk about size, like I think it's kind of concerning for Tua because Tua doesn't know when to get down. I know he's a little bit thicker, but he just doesn't know when to get down. I feel like Bryce kind of has that Kyler in him, in that Kyler doesn't get hit. Like he just doesn't. And he goes back to high school when he was at Allen. Like he slid too early this week, but he knows how to slide. He knows how to get down. Whenever there's a threat, he knows how to fall down. He's not going to sit there and try to fight for extra yards and get slammed down. And I think Bryce Young kind of has that in him, and he's just got a pedigree. I mean, he's scholarship offers in middle school. I also think, and this doesn't matter in like the big like football scheme of things, but I talk to the people in the business office a lot out there, and they're doing a really good job. They're doing whatever they can, but this would not impact the draft pick. So I'm not saying this is like an impact thing. It's not going to be like a Jimmy Haslam, Johnny Manziel thing, but it would be nice. I think you guys can agree to have a national brand at quarterback, and those Dr. Pepper commercials are freaking awesome. He's already like a national name. People might actually recognize Bryce Young. So, on top of the football stuff, I do think it would be nice for Texans fans to have somebody that you turn on the TV, boom, Bryce, a quarterback's on the on the screen. You can put him on the billboard holding the shoulder pads, the season tickets. You got Bryce Young. I think there's a little bit of excitement there. And you can still build a squad. The other thing is, like a lot of these teams, when they draft quarterbacks, a lot of times they trade up or they don't have all the draft equity. You got all the time in the world right now. You got the 2 first rounds after that. You're going to have premium picks in the draft with that early second. I like those early second round picks. That seems like when you really can find ballers. Like you look at like some of the biggest ballers, even in this division. Derrick Henry was a second round pick. Jonathan Taylor was a second round pick. Michael Pittman was a second round pick. Jalen Petrie was a second round pick. Like a lot of these like second round picks. Darius Leonard was a second round pick. Like that's where you find those ballers. So I look at having an early pick in the second round almost the same as like having a first round pick because you get to sleep on it. You look at who has fallen. I think teams draft less for need in like that early second round. So, man, you can build a hell of a roster around Bryce Young and put him in a good situation.
And Nick Caserio is he's pretty good when it comes to draft.
He's been good.
Yeah.
Good.
And he knows how to will and deal them too. Somehow he just gets draft picks like it's no other. Like I don't know how anybody get a draft pick after off of Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram, yeah. Like nobody but Ingram, Caserio would have done that. So yeah, I'm happy to have him.
We got a conditional seventh on Lonnie Johnson. Just want to say we got some of Lonnie Johnson.
No. Right. Oh man! But see, the thing about drafting a quarterback, what's Lovie Smith's contract? Anyone knows that? How many years does he have here?
5 years. It's a 5-year contract.
Yeah,
it's a 5-year contract.
He's not gonna coach 5 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
That's the thing. Okay, so you draft a quarterback. Lovey's gonna be here maybe another year or two. Then you get another coach. You're gonna get his guys, his OC. So now you're putting your quarterback. You're gonna Alex Smith him, and that's my thing. I don't want to Alex Smith the guy, and that could hurt him in the long run. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that will be interesting to see how they handle that. How does how much do they evaluate the offensive staff different when they're bringing in a quarterback? Because I do think it's a year-to-year process with Nick Caserio, where last year you were bringing in veterans, you were churning the roster. This year there was more of a youth movement where you had 10 guys on the 53 that were rookies. So there's always like a plan. There's like a calculated plan and mindset. I think Lovie Smith is kind of like a process over results coach right now, where he's perfect to oversee stuff right now. But if you do draft a young quarterback, do you look at the head coaching position the same? Like when you have, a better roster, a more appealing roster, how do they look at that? I don't know. And I don't know how much it like pushes the quarterback back. I don't know if Pep's running the offensive scheme that they would like. I would think that Nick Caserio has an idea of what kind of scheme he wants to run, which could also add to the Bryce Young thing, because B.O.B. runs, similar scheme to what Caserio did. He might not do it, that well at times, but he does run that. So there is like the terminology and stuff that I'm sure Bryce Young is familiar with. But yeah, that'll be just a completely, another fluid process of Nick Caserio and like the different types of evaluation he's going to have from year to year.
Hey, so Landry, so you didn't bring up CJ because of who his potential agent could be?
See, I just don't look, man, like his agent's David Mulligetta, and it's like, it's obvious. Like he's already got Brian Burney as his marketing guy, who was Deshaun's guy, who just made a jackass of himself like all offseason. Although he's doing a really good job with NIL, so I do want to give Burney credit for that. I think Mulligetta likes Caserio. I don't think it's going to come into play. I think he respects him. I think he respects the way that the Watson process went down. So I also don't think they've already pushed Jack back, in the background to where I don't think he's really going to be as much of an issue. Like if Jack still had the same role that he did before, then it might be a problem. I just think at Ohio State, and I don't want to be the guy who says, they've never had like a quarterback. I just think at Ohio State, it's very easy to have 5 seconds to throw the ball and the best receivers in the world and be successful. Like, I mean, the dude just lost Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and he just happens to have now Smith and Jigba, who might be better than both of those guys, and Marvin Harrison Jr. and all these other guys. So I'm just not as high on CJ Stroud for those reasons. I don't think the agent's as significant as it probably would have been like a year ago. I'm just not as high on him now.
I think he's another Justin Fields. Like you said, relies on his receivers way too much.
Yeah, and he's not as fast. You know, he's not like CJ's not as he's really not as much of a dual threat. He likes to throw the rock a little bit, but there are times when he struggles. It's funny because my buddy Mike Meltzer actually says, you know, we were talking about scouting quarterbacks. I whatever the hell he's saying. He says that the game against Iowa is actually going to be a really good test for him because it's going to be kind of an ugly game and Iowa has a good defense. Okay. I kind of roll my eyes at that, but he actually, I think it's this weekend. He says that might be the game to watch if you want to check out CJ Stroud. I'm not as high on him. I just like Bryce better.
I get that. I know we have to move on in a minute, but I wanted to address the whole whether Lovey's going to be here for 5 years or not. Here's my take. My take is that he's going to be here for about 3 years at the minimum, and then whatever happens after that really depends on the way the team's moving. I don't see Casero getting rid of him anytime soon. I also think that this is one of the first times, especially since the Brian Flores lawsuit, where we're going to have to make decisions based on what people are thinking with, because you know all the hate that we got about firing David Culley, you know, the fact that we had a black coach and we won 4 games, and even though we were supposed to win nothing, and then you can't do it again. So I think perception, like, I don't know, we don't do it often as an organization, but I do think that's going to play out into this, even with now that we are still in the Brian Flores lawsuit thing too. But I also think that if we move on from Lovey, it's a matter of getting your next guy that's going to be here for a decade. I don't think they're going to move on from Lovey for another bridge. If we move on from Lovey, it's the dude that's going to be here for at least a decade.
Yeah, you hope so. You hope so. Decade's a long time though in NFL coaching. That's a hell of an outlook by you. You're gonna find a decade coach. All right,
I want
for that. We can get us a decade coach. Let's go. Let's go get us a hoodie.
I'm down with that too. Like, for real. But yeah, I on the Lovie Smith thing, I think he's gonna be here maybe one more year, and then I think they're gonna move on from him.
Yeah, and I don't think he's wanting to coach like forever. I think that Lovey, you know, Lovey's playing with house money. He wasn't going to get an NFL DC job last year. He wasn't going to get a head coach. So I don't think Lovey's here. Not, you know, he's not trying to bail, but you know, I think Lovey's down with the process.
I think we pull a Jaguars move where we got the roster we're happy with, then we go get a Super Bowl contending coach like Doug Peterson. You know, if one's available. I mean, I
think it's going to be a young guy. I think you might need to revisit the Jonathan Gannon thing, depending on what happens with him.
What about Josh McCown?
I like Josh McCown a lot, so I'm the that's kind of a sensitive. People are still mad at me for loving Josh McCown. I just do. I loved him for 7 years, so it's not like I just randomly, you know, did it. There's receipts. Like I was saying before they even signed him that I would sign him and make him a coach. So I'm a Josh McCown guy. They've ruined that. Like that's not going to happen. But Jonathan Gannon, Bubba
Ben
Ventrone,
Johnson.
Yeah. Who?
Ben Johnson.
Okay. Yeah. D'Amico.
The Lions.
Yeah. He's doing a pretty good job, although he did get shut out last week. But
Bro.
I like D'Amico. I think D'Amico might be gone after this year. I like Bubba Ventrone with the Colts, although I don't know what his process is. He's way behind, so I don't think he's like established.
I tell you who I want. I want anybody other than Eric Bieniemy. I don't
Eric Bieniemy.
Yes, I want to stay with him farther than we can.
Yeah,
I don't think he's any good.
Yeah, he has interviewed with over half the coaches or half the teams in the league. So, there's something going on with the Bieniemy thing. But you never know, man. Like Nick Sirianni was ridiculed when he was picked, and that was a pretty dopey ass press conference, but doing a pretty good job right now. So they have some sort of idea of what they want to do. I don't think the McCown thing is something. If you are worried about perception, that's something you can do. But there are some names. But I think Lovey, he's here for at least another year, and I think the roster is going to get, better and better. Hopefully they figure it out offensively. But you got to add some. You're going to have to add some faces there. We need some ballers there.
All right.
Sure.
All right, guys. Should we move on to NFL news? There's only a few things to really talk about.
I think I have to dip before NFL news, but I will.
Okay.
Anytime if you guys need me to come on again, I will. I have to dip on this, but I'm all
before you dip, Landry, can we ask you what is your hot take of the season? It can be anything.
Hot take of the season? The
Raiders.
are still. Texans or National?
But fuck it, let's do both. Go ahead.
All right, so National, I think the Raiders are still going to make the playoffs. I think the Raiders, if you look at their next 6 games, it's laid out pretty well. Their 4 losses, I think, have been by 14 points. Their schedule's laying out pretty nicely. So I think the Raiders will still compete for a playoff spot. And that's my hot National. My hot Texans take. I think you can just pick anything that we've said. My hot Texans take. I think that by the end of this year, we're going to look at the linebacking core a lot different because I think Christian Harris and Wallow are going to provide the linebacking core with some hope, some athleticism, and it's going to be something to build on. So we're going to look at that a lot differently than we did before.
Awesome. Well, Landry, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Keep doing what y'all doing because there's a lot of people.
Appreciate you.
I have to do this for a living, and I enjoy it. Nothing more that I'd rather do. But there are a lot of fans that they try to do podcasts, they try to do stuff, and then as soon as stuff gets bad, they whine, they cry, they go on vacations, they hide, they don't do it. But you guys have been doing it from the very beginning. Everywhere I go, I see Brown Chubby Bear on Reddit and stuff like that. So just keep doing what y'all are doing. Keep bringing that positive vibes. And, you guys will be here the entire time, no matter what it is. It's good to see guys married to the process, and I appreciate you guys for having me on.
All right. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Good talk.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys want to go into NFL news?
I mean, it's hard to beat something like that, man. I think we should just end the episode. I mean, that was some great stuff. What do you think, Grissaw?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Shit. I mean, we got 12 minutes. So let's keep it. Let's keep it at an hour. So let's go to NFL news. We got.
That's good.
All right. Well, there's only a few things. The first thing was Devontae Adams has officially been charged with a misdemeanor for that push. It's a city ordinance misdemeanor, so it's not as severe, but I don't think he's going to get jail time or anything. But there is a possibility, obviously, there. Most likely he's looking at a fine, but he has gotten charged. So the guy filed a police report, and he's been charged. What do you guys think about that?
When that guy started, guy got hit, he started grabbing his neck, grabbing his back, grabbing his leg. It's a money grab, bro. Like,
of course,
let's call a spade a spade. I mean, more power to him. I mean, Devontae shouldn't be a crybaby bitch and throw a fit, so he kind of brought it on himself. I hope the guy gets paid. I mean, shouldn't be an idiot. People lose games all the time. You don't see the Texans pushing people around. They lose on the daily.
Great. Crenshaw?
They'll just cuss them out. Right?
Right. Yeah.
The Texans
blame
just
Jack
cuss them out.
Easterby.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I really believe that Adams didn't see the guy, and when he came upon him, he didn't know what it was, so his reaction was just to push. But I don't think it's mean you should press charge on a guy. I think that's pretty weak because those camera guys get ran over. Like, if a guy catch a ball, he get pushed, run to the camera guy, run to the cheerleaders all the time,
Right.
and none of those guys are going to sue. So I think it's weak. I think what happened, the angle that we initially saw was bad. So he probably got the text message saying, "Hey, bro, this your opportunity. This your come up right here." Because I don't think guy. I think the guy was doing some intern there, right? He was doing intern, right? He wasn't like he's not. He doesn't work there. He's just interning, right? Is that what they said?
I'm actually not sure if he's just an intern, so I can't confirm that.
Okay.
But I do share the whole thing of. I do share your whole thing of why do you press charges? I mean, you could sue him, get your money, and get paid. But the whole thing of pressing charges, I assume, is the whole reason why they're going to pressure him to settle, right?
Well,
we'll take up the charges.
This is why right here, fellas. As soon as he got pushed, like you said, it was on national TV. Everybody saw it. He's probably in the ambulance heading to the hospital. His whole phone's probably getting blown up by lawyers. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Hey. And it was the first thing you need to do is follow a police report. I mean, that's what it's got to be. I mean, because it was a weak push. But again, if Adams wasn't a crybaby bitch, But also, I kind of want to piggyback what Kershaw said about Adams not being there. That could be a possibility because the Chiefs fans, I don't know if y'all saw that in halftime, but they were throwing beer bottles. They were throwing all kinds of stuff at the at the Raiders players. So they could have been doing the same thing after the game, and Devontae wasn't paying attention.
Walked out. Got his foot, like why did the guy run right in front of him anyway?
Right.
Yeah,
it was
just to get his reaction. I mean,
bullshit.
I agree. I'll move on, but yeah, I agree. It's completely bullshit. But this is somewhat tangentially related, which is we are now hearing from Michael Balco, who has been reliable in the past, said that everything he's hearing from the Green Packer organization is that Aaron Rodgers is going to leave at the end of this season. Now, we've heard this, I don't know how many times, 3, 4, but could this time actually be true? I mean, he's having a hard time with his receivers. He basically had to go to overtime with the third string quarterback during the Green Bay Pats game. I mean, you saw what happened with the Giants game. I think that they're not going to have a great season. I did say ahead of time that I think that Green Bay was going to. So I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder. Hear that? Green Bay was not going to have a good season. That they'd have a winning season, but they wouldn't make it to the playoffs. I think that if he doesn't, this could be a way of saying, I made my money. We're not a good team right now. Put in Jordan Love. Let me walk into the sunset.
So, listen, he got smoked by Kirk Cousins week 1. He barely beat a beat-up Buccaneers team. He beat one of who we should beat, the Bears. And then, like you said, went overtime against a third-string rookie quarterback. Come on. And then he got embarrassed by the Giants. This Packers team's not good. I can see why he wants to retire. So I mean,
but didn't he just sign an extension?
He did.
Yeah, but I mean that was for 3 years. So
that's
if
why
he plays this one out.
But okay, so if he wants out, but when the Packers have a bunch of dead money from that, or he would do something with the deal. Well,
if he retire, I think is voided and no.
I don't see him retiring though. I don't see him doing it. To me personally, the best team for him, but it would look weird for them to do this, would be San Francisco.
Yeah,
go back,
really?
And play with San Francisco, but
or Denver because Russell Wilson's not the answer.
He'll go there. But I think San Francisco is a good team for him. But I just don't see how possible. How would that happen? Because you got Trey Lance coming back and all that. But to me, that's a good team. Or New Orleans Saints. That'd be good for him. I don't think the guy should retire. He still got a lot of juice left in him, man. not looking good right now because these guys ain't on the same page with him. I mean, they're not Devontae Adams. You know?
I mean, I think you have one issue, which obviously, he doesn't have any of his receivers really that he likes, that he uses. He did use Cobb this past game quite a bit, but the other thing is, he has this other life that if you watch him on the Pat McAfee show, where he doesn't seem like he's all there. I mean, he's talking about how many drugs that he was doing in the offseason and stuff like that. Like, it seems like he's gradually saying, I'm doing it, but it's not necessarily what I love and live and breathe anymore. And I do see him, if he retires, to go ahead and do something else. Like, I don't think he's going to be out of the public's view. He's just not going to be on a football team. Now, could he be an announcer? Could he have his own show? Totally. I can see that. Who's not going to watch that?
But he's weird, though. I don't know. I don't think he would be on TV. So weird. I mean, the guy don't even talk to his own family, man. He's a weird individual, man. But he's still a hell of a quarterback.
I agree. Can't deny that. So there's only two more bits of news before we end the show. And the next one is Tua's at practice today. So they basically said that he is now past the concussion protocol. In fact, this is actually part of the concussion protocol for him to go back to practice. They've sent out quite a few statements about why he was even allowed to play in the first place, not just back in the game the first time, but going back in and playing on a short week as well. And so at this point, they've now changed the rules that a player should not be able to play again, even if they have the symptoms of having a concussion. So we're not going to see that happen. So what do you think about having Tua come back in practice? It looks like he might start in the next week or so. And you think it's still too soon?
Too soon. The dude had, I don't care what the Dolphins are saying. There's professionals in the brain neurological field saying that was brain traumatic injury. Like, I mean, I don't care. I don't care who you are. It's too soon. I mean, that guy was throwing up gang signs. Like, it was terrible. He shouldn't have played that game, and he shouldn't be playing this weekend. I say at least 2 more weeks before he plays. But he's a grown ass man. He don't live under my roof, so I can't tell him what to do. So more power to him.
I mean, I think he should wait because they got 2 games, and then they got the bye. I think he should come back week 9 when they play the Bears in week 9. I don't want him to rush it because, like, if he get hurt again, I mean, that's his career. Like, he's going to be done. So I think he should just wait.
Playing the Bears is like another bye week. So I mean, he'd be
playing the Bears because I mean, after this week they got the Steelers bye, then the Bears. So I mean, playing the Steelers is like a bye week.
True, right,
right. But what it is it's gonna be about urgency, like, because they started off good and then they lost some games, and it's the owner. Well, the owner suspended, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whoever's in his place, are they going to say, "Hey, we need to start winning some games"? If he passing the test, put him out there, and then he know what to say already. It could be one of those things, but I think he should wait, though, man. I mean, because damn, I don't want to see that guy get hurt again, man.
Yeah.
All right. The way that I'm looking at it is they obviously having doctors look at it too. Is obviously makes his own decision as well. Do I think that he should play this week? I don't think that he's playing this week, but I think he's practicing to play for the following week. Basically, I think that a lot of health professionals, I'm seeing this on the screen now, but I think a lot of professionals would actually say he shouldn't play ever again. Not just this soon. I mean, a lot of them are saying it's time for him to say, nope, this is too big of an issue. Now, we know Tua's not going to just hang him up. He's way too young. He's not going to hang him up. The effects of what happened, we won't know for decades from now. But there's no way in hell Tua's going to stop playing. So at this point, it's a matter of how do you get him back in the groove, at least get him back some reps. So when he's out there, he's not getting hurt in other ways. At least get him some conditioning so he's not tearing his hip or, breaking his hip or doing anything else that could have happened if he's not getting conditioned. So I'm kind of torn on that one because I know that Tua wants to get back out there. So if he's going to want to get back out there, put him in the best position to do so. And so he's conditioned so he doesn't have another injury.
Right, I agree.
But all right, let's end on the last news of today, which I found quite interesting. So OBJ tweeted out that the Rams have not offered him much of a contract. We had Sean McVay was asked about this, and he said that isn't a final contract. However, there were reports that they saw OBJ in the Buffalo airport, which could mean that Buffalo is trying to seduce him. Do you think he ends up in Buffalo? Do you think he ends up on the Rams? Do you think he ends up on any team? What are your thoughts about what's going on right now with OBJ?
I'll let you go first, Chris. I'll go ahead.
I hope he ends up on somebody's team because he's not that guy like he was his rookie year to keep talking about. But I don't think he should go to the Bills. I don't think they really need the guy. I mean, Gabe and Stephon Diggs. I mean, shit, they're pretty much loaded right there. And even to the Rams. I mean, I know they're not going to Allen Robinson and everything, but I feel like he should just wait and then sign, at the last minute on the playoff team and then step in and do it.
I think cut out right there. But I'll just continue that. And so I understand what you're saying. You're saying that you want him to wait. I think that a couple teams are trying to land him now so they don't have to worry about going into some sort of battle at the last minute and having to really overpay him. So it also helps him out because the sooner he gets paid, the sooner he starts getting checks, even if he's not playing. So I can understand why he wants to play now. I actually think there is a good chance that he ends up on the Bills. Why? Because, listen, we all know injuries happen, and I'm not saying that Diggs or Gabe or McKenzie's going to get hurt, but, trying to make it between now and the playoffs, it's going to be tough. So I can see him getting on the Bills because probably not all three are going to be 100% healthy. I just think the Rams just don't seem like they're it this year. So I can see him saying, I don't want to go back to this team that really looks distraught. They don't look great at all. So I actually can see him going to the Bills. They look right now like the top contender, at least in the AFC.
So this is why he's going to go to the Bills. McKenzie, he's been hurt. Davis, he did get hurt Sunday, but he's playing, so he's a little banged up. But they're all in, like you said. They're the AFC contender. They're all in. They're even trying to ask Carolina for CMC. Like they're putting their chips in, and I think that's why they're going to give Odell what he wants and how much he wants, and he's going to be on the Buffalo Bills. So, is he going to be a playmaker like Crenshaw said his rookie year? No, he'd probably be their fourth, maybe fifth option, but he's there for somebody, for when they need him.
He'll just have his moments and everything.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Him being the star receiver is over with.
Yeah, I agree. But Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, he had 50 yards and a touchdown. I mean, damn, in a Super Bowl. I mean,
and then he got hurt. Yeah.
And then he got hurt.
But
so
you can say the same thing for Stephon Diggs, but you can say that was credit to Cooper Kupp because they were triple teaming Cooper Kupp. So, but you can say the same thing with Stephon Diggs. So, yeah. But yeah, Josh Allen and the Bills are, to me, they're the Super Bowl front runners. Why not? Go ahead.
Yep. That's all the news I have for today. So, do you guys want to give your hot takes, or are we good because we give hot takes every week?
My hot take is I'm going to have my daughter's 5th birthday party this Sunday. So happy early birthday, Bailey May. I love you. And Daddy's doing this for you, baby girl. So that's my hot take.
If I had emojis, I'd press heart right now. There should be emojis on the screen. No, that's cute. And please give her our best as well. Happy early birthday.
I guess my hot take, I got to piggyback off Matt. my daughter's birthday in about 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Oh wow!
There you go, brother.
All right.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and she'll be 17.
Oh
So,
damn, bro! I do
yeah.
not envy you at all. I got two 13. Well, right now I got 3 13-year-olds. So
Yeah.
I'm dreading the time they become 17, 18-year-olds.
Yeah, so happy early birthday to my daughter, and we're gonna turn up
Happy
this.
early
We're
birthday.
gonna turn up this weekend since we're on a bye, so we're gonna turn up and do a little something.
Yes, sir. Same here. So happy birthday. Tell her Uncle Day one said happy birthday.
I got you, Uncle Day one. Yeah, then VT, ain't your birthday coming up too?
October 23rd.
Damn,
Well, shit,
all these
look.
October birthdays.
Yeah,
Damn.
I got a brother whose birthday is on Halloween. So look, I mean, you know how it is.
Shit.
Everyone gets busy in
I got
February.
I know, right? I know. I got another kid birthday in October too.
Damn, you're a busy man in October, but
I'll give you my hot take. My hot take, since we play the Raiders on my birthday, since we're talking about birthdays. So my hot take is that we find a way to actually beat the Raiders.
I agree with you.
So that's my hot take. On my birthday, a win. That's what I want.
We won. I'm trolling until we lose. I say 12-0 incoming. Texans by 50 every game. Texans by 50. 12-0 incoming. It don't matter. Take it to the bank.
There we go.
Until we lose.
Right. All right, guys. Well, it's been a good show. Another shout out to Landry Locker. You can follow him, watch him, listen to him on 610. He also's got a YouTube channel. You can Google that. It's Landry Locker on YouTube. He does put out good content. And if you guys are Redditors, I'm there. I'm actually Chubby Brown Bear. I'm there. I forgot his username. It is something like Broke Conflict, but he's up there. If you're there, you'll see us chatting together. I do comment on a bunch of his stuff, and he comments on a bunch of mine. So come to Reddit as well. I'm on Twitter on Brown Chubby Bear. I may have a space tonight. We'll see. I have to do a few things. But Matt and Crenshaw, why don't you let everyone know where they can find you guys?
Go ahead, brother.
You can find me at 5th Ward Crenshaw.
And always, you can find me at A1 Day One Texans.
Thanks, guys. It's been a great show. Until next time, let's go Texans.
Go Texans.